But so I was with him. He was a sex addict. And when you use crystal meth, it's hard to finish. So there'd be some days where we'd be going most of the day. It was not particularly fun. But one garage that we'd been staying in, and this particular police officer told us to leave. And then there was one night where we had nowhere else to go. And so we go back in this, it was just a little standalone unit. We knew there was a mattress in there. So we went back there. And I think I had actually, I mean, crystal meth does crazy things to you when you're using it for that many days. I fell asleep, mid activity, and I wake up and there's just a super bright flashlight. And of course we're butt naked because we were in the middle of the act. And, I have to say, so the guy that was the head of the like homeless unit was there, was higher standing. And the one who'd originally told us to leave was there. We knew both of them. And you could tell they were trying not to laugh the entire time they were writing this ticket. And we were, of course, just mortified. So we go what felt like all the way across town. It was really like maybe a mile, but it felt like, okay, we're safe now. We're in a completely different world. And we set up a tent, and this cop rolls up before we're even done setting up. So we'd never seen this woman before in our lives. And she looks at us and she goes, "Oh, it's you guys. We heard you had a rough night." But it gets better because, I don't know, something like 6 or 8 months later, I am now associated with completely different people. That relationship is long over. I'm in a completely different arc and also in a different part of town. And I think this was right before a Trump visit to LA where, I think that's what it was, where he'd been complaining about the homelessness problem there. And so I think my impression was that we were some of the more notorious people on this little like strip of sidewalk that we had. And they came and threw away all of our stuff, and they're supposed to give you a warning if they're going to do that. So I think what they did was illegal, but they were making a big showing of like getting rid of the notorious people. And of course everybody fled, and I don't flee, I freeze. So I was the one sitting there talking to the cops as they threw away all of our, the worldly possessions of 3 or 4 people. And there's one there who is, I mean, he's a cop's cop, just like very sleek, very muscular, very serious looking. And, we're talking for like an hour or two, and I'm into the people pleasing, like fawning thing, like trying to make jokes. And like, I'm harmless. And at the very end, he mentions the name of that department head. And I was like, oh, funny story. He walked in on my ex and I at one point, and this man, this jaguar of a man, his face just drained of color. And then it turned bright red. And I kid you not, he squeaked, "Oh, I know who you are."